biggest chip ever.
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
I mean, it's their biggest chip ever. Most of their chips are very small.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of a weird. It had so many cores, we had to make it bigger. Yeah, like a computer chip.
Yeah. Well, it's not the only thing they made bigger. I mean, we
Yeah.
talked about the Surface Laptop Studio being a chunky boy. Compared
Yeah,
to their previous stuff, I think the Johnny Ive era has completely just washed out the window with the baby, and the entire bathtub is just gone. And Paul, I have a brilliant idea how we're going to retire. This is great.
Oh, I can't wait.
Over the next 5 years, we're going to slowly take away something everybody likes each year. Like 1 year, it'll be,
Yes.
and
And then
then
charge more for it.
yep, and
Yep.
then on that like 6th or 7th year, we'll say, look, it's all coming back. It's all back. Just buy it again.
And then a standing ovation.
Exactly.
Standing ovation. Yeah, look, these computers are great. There's no doubt about
Yep.
it. They brought back the ports. They already did the keyboard thing. That's great. There's a notch. Whatever. Okay, fine. But they're not gaming PCs, obviously.
Mhm.
Well, maybe not obviously, but they aren't. And I think for the Apple's Pro audience, they're great. It's interesting. I mean, they still have all the same stats. It's 2x, 40x, 7x, 1000x, whatever the hell it is. And it's like, yeah, it's still, I don't think it's the type of thing that will, it's a lot like what Microsoft's doing with Windows. It's not really designed to get people to switch.
Mhm.
It's designed to keep people in the fold, And I think it's going to work. And I don't mean that like they did something deceptive. I think these are great machines for that audience. You're right. They're bigger and heavier. They kind of remind me of like I don't remember the eras anymore, but like a 2011 or 12 era
Yes.
MacBook Pro.
Yep.
It's got that thick, kind of chunky look. When you see like an old MacBook in a movie or something, you're like, oh man, look how thick that thing is. You kind of forget. Well, you won't anymore because there they are.
Yeah, and they've also brought back the Nacho Cheese. Not even brought back; they've implemented. I don't know if they had extra notches from leftover iPhones, but they.
Geez, you know what? I'm so numb to this Apple stuff now. I don't even know if I can complain about it. I can make fun of it because, my God, seriously. But on the other hand, what's the alternative? You have like a thicker bar across the top. It's just wasted space for the most part. Apple has a menu. It's unique to well, I guess there's some Linuxes that do too, but unlike Windows, there's a persistent menu bar at the top of the UI. So they can do what they do on the iPhone, where part of it's on either side. There's nothing usually in the middle. And then for full screen mode, which I was making fun of, but actually there's a solution. By default, they have a bar there. So the full screen doesn't impede into that. You don't lose any of the UI of the app.
Mhm.
And fine.
And it looks really great in dark mode. Something they said in their keynote.
People love dark mode, Brad. I don't know why you're making fun of that. They did it for them. Or something. I don't know.
Well, the other befuddling thing is, and we all know why they're doing this. They didn't put Face ID in that giant notch, which we know
So
they
I
could
didn't
fit.
actually know that. Are you kidding me? Then what's the point of, well, a 1080p webcam?
Well, no, the point will be, so next year or whatever, next revision, it's like, oh, we heard your feedback. Here's Face ID, and then the same notch, exact same look. Yep.
This is a technology that's been perfected. In fact, I think anyone would agree, even Apple's detractors would agree, that their facial recognition technology is the best there is on phones. God, you put a notch on a computer and you didn't add Face ID? That's incredible.
Gotta have something for next year, Paul.
They are pathological, Brad.
Gotta have something.
I said this yesterday. They've stuck with USB-C on iPhones and the notch and whatever else because people complain about it. And they're like, no, we're digging in. It makes them crazy. Like there's something weird about the psychology of the company as a whole. Like it's really strange.
The other the other fun thing is did anybody care to think about the dongle makers? Because they're going to go out of business.
Well, you still need a dongle if you have a USB-A peripheral. Yeah. I'm a little surprised they didn't do that. In fact, there's 3 Thunderbolt ports in this thing. I thought, why do you even need? Is HDMI out seriously still today? That important?
Apparently. Oh, the other fun thing, it's not HDMI 2.1.
I know it's 2.0.
2.0.
Well, next year when they add 2.1, Brad, standing ovation.
Mm-hmm.
This is a strange company.
Yeah, like it's
Look, again, as pro products, we have to because this is what we do. We can dick around about the individual features and everything, and there's a lot
Hmm.
to talk about, complain about, whatever you want to say. But I really do. I think this update really satisfies the needs of the pro users that they have. I know that people are in those markets are going to say, oh, finally, finally. And they'll upgrade a 2016 Intel-based MacBook Pro that had like an i7 or maybe even an i9 processor, whatever it was. And they'll be quite happy with this. And fine, that's fine.
Hmm.
Good luck lugging that chunk around. I'm uh I'm going to Paris next week. I don't know if I mentioned this publicly yet, but I know I told you, but I'm going to be bringing the Surface Pro 8,
Hmm.
and man, it's nice carrying that little guy around. It's like under 2 pounds by itself. It's under,
Hmm.
I think it's 2.2, 2.3 pounds with the case and the
Hmm.
pen. Oh man, that's like half a MacBook Pro.
I was trying to think of
And
what half a pro is.
from a performance perspective as
Yeah,
well. But
yeah. I was gonna.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You get what you pay for. I mean,
Oh,
I don't know.
no,
That doesn't
nope.
work.
It's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But
Pricing wasn't too bad for those machines. I mean, kind of like if you think the Surface Laptop Studio is fairly priced, then the MacBook Pro is probably right in that.
there's a fun looking update coming for the MacBook Air that I think is going to be really cool. It's going to have those colors like the iMac does.
Yeah.
New design with the kind of a white bezel. And I at some point in this transition, obviously the whole lineup. There's a new Mac Mini coming supposedly as well with a new design. Um, I think they're going to land in a good place, where they have a good range of options for people. I mean, people like you and I, most people don't need like a MacBook Pro, really.
Hmm.
I don't know if they're going to take like they have an entry level MacBook Pro. I'm sure they're still selling. That's like $12.99, but it has the old MacBook Pro design. I don't know. Apple has a rich history of doing this kind of thing. They introduced an AirPod 3,
Yep.
tacked on $50 to the price, and kept the existing one in the market.
Hmm.
It's like, guys, how many AirPods do you need? Like, just, it's crazy, but they love doing this kind of thing. So they span the price gamut, spam the price gamut, may be the better term. And that's what they do. So maybe they keep, if you need, I don't know, MacBook Air at some point is going to change the design. I think the entry level MacBook Pro is either going to stay the way it is or eventually maybe move to this new design. In Apple timelines, probably take about 5 years for it to get there, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
This stuff doesn't impact me in the slightest. I'm so happy.
you could buy a colored.
It's so great to watch the dollar signs fly by and realize you don't have to worry about any of it.
You could splurge on a colored yarn ball if you've always wanted one of this. Oh, the other great thing that they announced. I love this. So Apple has decided that keyboard and mouse support is $5 a month. That is what they announced.
Touch support too, right?
Yeah.
So I'd have to look this up. I don't know the exact details. Amazon has a very cheap tier of Amazon Music that's designed to be used only with an Echo speaker. So if you already have one, you can just use it on that one device. So this is kind of like Apple's attempt to get into that low end part of the music subscription service, like $4.99 a month. But it's like me, Siri, play whatever playlist. Siri, yes, it is raining. Like this is not the worst personal assistant on earth, but it's not exactly in the top tier, let's say.
Yeah.
I don't know. You'd be better off just getting Apple Music and using the Google Assistant to play music from it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Strange.
So, anyways, that was the Apple event. Kind of.
In bigger news, Brad, today is the Google event.
Oh, right.
It's at 1:00 ET, just like the Apple event, because Google. And actually, I think Google announced this first. But yeah, this is the one where I am going to spend a lot of money.
You're not going to wait for the Samsung event tomorrow?
There is nothing Samsung could announce today that would change my mind about the Pixel. And I know they're not. I mean, I don't know, but I think we sort of know they're not going to announce like a new awesome flagship phone or anything, right? This is like some other thing.
Could be. I don't know.
Yeah, they're throwing it together. This is like a yard sale. It's like, hey, what do we got in the garage? Let's bring it out to the street.
It is Samsung. I mean, they could pull a boat out like a Freightliner.
They'll have a new subscription service where you get like laundry soap for your washing machine, plus music, plus home automation.
Plus Freon for your fridge. Like it's just the
Yep.
home essentials. So, what are we doing?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, I think that's kind of about it. I mean, Apple usually dominates the headlines for their own events. And
Yeah.
when did these things come out? Is it next week?
Next week. The HomePod for some reason is November, but that's not much more than next week, I guess. Yeah, I think most of it, and I think the Apple Music thing, curiously, is November, if I'm not mistaken, but it's not immediate, which is like, you can't just flip the switch on this. Maybe it requires an iOS update of some kind.
Yeah, or there might be contracts. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, anyways, if you want to go buy a MacBook Pro, you can get it in you can get a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Pro Max. Right? I mean, that's
a Pro. What do you call the one that's not Pro? The not quite Pro, the M1 version? What's that thing? The Pro Mini, the Pro Nano,
the Pro Throt,
the Pro Pine.
Propane.
I don't know.